Remember, when you watch my videos, you are learning the perspective and the viewpoint of reality, of truth, that is that of a cultural American. So a lot of times when I say things, it sounds like I'm from a different planet, I'm an alien from a different planet, and for all practical purposes, I am. And this video is only going to reinforce that concept, that is going to confuse and maybe even frustrate people who are not in the United States and raised here in the United States. So here I'm going to say it. For someone who lives in the United States, if we see a person that we perceive is white and speaks Spanish, but doesn't really speak English, like Spanish is the main language they speak, but we perceive them as white, that's ironic. And that's what this video is about. We perceive that person to be ironically speaking Spanish because as Americans, we've been conditioned to believe that if you're going to speak Spanish, yes, you have European DNA, but you also have Native American. And it doesn't matter if you're a Mexican American and Native that way, or if you're in Mexico, or if you're in Southern America. It doesn't matter what country in below the border of the United States. But it's almost like your street cred, your pass to be able to speak Spanish is that you have to have Native American DNA. Or you're in Europe, you're in Spain, and it's assumed that you have, let's say, Arab DNA, more that Mediterranean mix, some of those darker features. But either way, that's like the European version of Native American, is that you've got Arab DNA or some kind of Mediterranean or assumed Sephardic Jewish or something like that. That there's no such thing as a white person who speaks Spanish as their main language and then English is like a second language, or if they may not even know much English at all. To us, that's ironic. And what we definitely cannot perceive without it being completely ironic. Imagine, and well, you've seen my daughter in these videos. She has a lighter skin than me. She has undeniably blue eyes and undeniably blonde hair. If I were to see a person like that speaking Spanish and not English, and especially broken English if they did try to speak it, major irony alert. Because even though my daughter does have something like 10% Native American DNA, you wouldn't notice that by looking at her. So, but for us, if we perceive that someone is speaking Spanish and doesn't have Native American DNA, or doesn't have some kind of reason why they're ultimately Spanish, because remember, we perceive Spanish people not so much as white people, but people that are European descent, but that also have Jewish or Arab DNA, something beyond just, should I just say WASP? Should I say that? I mean, I know that Spanish people typically aren't Protestant, right? They're Catholic. Either way, it's very difficult for us to process without it being ironic for that person to be speaking Spanish. Now, I know, even now, what I've just said, if you're not in America, especially if you're in Spain, what I've said in this video may seem frustrating. It may seem like I'm trying to be a troll as I'm saying this, try to poke you with the stick. Hey, let me see, I'm gonna get you. No, I'm telling you the mainstream American perception, this is how we perceive reality. If you want a pass to be able to speak Spanish and it not be ironic, you're gonna appear to be white, but you're also gonna appear to have something darker feature mixed in, like Native American or some kind of Middle Eastern descent in there too, and that would give you a pass for Europe. But if you want a pass for Americas, then it would be Native American. That's the only way it cannot be ironic to us. That is the American perception. It goes back to truth versus fact. I know what I said. If we're basing this on fact, complete nonsense. But if we're basing this on cultural truth, something that makes Americans exotic, not necessarily how we look, but how we think and perceive things, then this is definitely so exotic it seems crazy. This is the mainstream America viewpoint. And you're hearing it from me. It's challenging to you because you live in your version of truth, which is actually much closer to fact. So when you hear me say something that doesn't match the facts, but it's our truth, our collective truth over here in the United States, that can be very challenging. Let's try to unpack that right here in the comments.